All right, we are live here with a very special Monday edition of the Game of Thrones review show. How about that? I bet you guys were expecting us to talk about boxing. Yeah, we are wrong. Today, we're talking about Game of Thrones. I'm breaking it down with my two favorite people, my wife, Lisa.
Hello.
All right. And my boy, Beeb.
Hello.
That was it? That was it, you guys? Come on, you guys better come with some energy, man.
Not singing.
All right, so what happened in the Game of Thrones last night, man? Okay, so it starts off with, what's that guy's name? The bald guy?
Varys.
Ferris?
Varys.
That's what I meant, Varys.
Varys.
All right, so Varys gets eaten by that dragon. He gets burned up by that dragon, and then...
That was not the first thing that happened, but okay.
Why don't you break it down? Because you know this a lot. No, go ahead, because you know this a lot better than I do. Go ahead and break this down. What happened?
No, you're good. You keep going. I'll just make fun of you. It's fine.
You'll just make fun. All right, so the guy gets burned by this dragon. What got me, though, is that, like, Tyrion turned him in, right? So Tyrion turns him in for treason. Wasn't it treason or something like that? It was like a treasonous act.
Treason. I guess he was planning.
He betrayed her, you know?
He had a scheme going to poison her, I guess.
What was that? And she hadn't eaten for days, so they kept trying to poison her and stuff like that. And Jon Snow comes into play. And then I guess he comes into the beach or whatever, and then he goes right to him. Varys goes right to him and says, "Hey, we want this, I want you to be the new king and this and that." And he says, "Look, man, I'm not interested." So he's already betrayed her. And do you think that did Jon Snow go and tell Daenerys about this?
No. Tyrion was the one that did.
I know Tyrion was the one that did it, but do you think that he went back there and tried to, do you think he said anything to her or anything like that? You think, or he just carried it with him? And
I don't think he had, I think before he even got a chance to do it, she already knew because Tyrion told her. And then then they had the conversation about it themselves. Like, after Tyrion told her, that's when I think Jon Snow and her started talking. Probably talked about it afterwards. But I think Tyrion beat everyone to the punch in revealing that. That's my opinion. But again, we don't know for sure. We don't really know for sure.
All right, so why did Tyrion turn him in?
Because he didn't expect her to do what she did. No one really expected her to turn the way she turned.
Right, but Varys has been with Tyrion for a long time. In the sense that they've known each other for a long time.
Yeah, but I don't think they ever trusted each other.
No, they all. They would
trust Varys, and Tyrion.
There was a time when Varys kind of stabbed Tyrion in the back too, when he testified against him when he was on trial for Joffrey.
Yeah,
so
he's stabbed everybody in the back. There's no person he's not willing to betray, and he convinced himself that he was doing it for the good of the realm, but he wasn't. I don't think anyway. I think he just is in it for his own. I think he's powerful.
Well, he was a little chauvinistic too. He tried to play the man card with Jon Snow, saying that the true ruler needs to be a man, so.
Which, if you've been with Dany for any length of time, how could you not realize that wasn't an issue?
Yeah, exactly.
So he.
But here,
all right. So Tyrion drops dime on this guy. He tells Dany about her, but Dany's got a different reaction. Now, what was her reaction when Tyrion told her about it? Because he said it's almost like she knew. Wasn't it?
Well, she knew that was what would happen if Jon told his family. She knew that they would not be trusted to keep that to themselves because they don't like her much. They don't trust her.
But here's the thing, though. Here's one of the problems, and tell me if I'm off base here. Varys knows that, he's been in this situation before where he's turned on people before, but he's always escaped. So don't you think that, or shouldn't he have known, or don't you think that he possibly knew that people knew what he was doing? So why didn't he plan his escape? Like, why did he hang around? In other words, why wasn't he look? Yeah, well, why wasn't Varys looking for the back door like he always did? Like, because he escaped.
Expected it.
I don't think that's true. true. I think he definitely expected it. I mean, you saw him burn up the last thing he wrote and took his rings off and put them in the cup. I think that he didn't have another place to go. I think he had plan Bs all throughout up until then, but now he was out of them because he couldn't go back to the Lannisters.
That's a good point, Lisa. So in other words, he already stabbed so many people in the back that there was no place else he could go.
Right. And all the people that he used to be aligned with are dead.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. And
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Eric. I'm going to let you flow because I wanted to talk about other things, but I want to let you flow a little bit, and then I want to talk about some things that happened later in the episode that kind of had me, questioning why. There's a couple things in this episode. A couple things in this episode that made me say why. Right. Because I think we could. I don't want to speak for everyone here, but I think we can possibly all agree that this seemed a little bit rushed. This episode.
Yes, very much.
That was Lisa's complaint about this whole thing. Is that the entire season seems rushed, and it doesn't need to be. They could have really stretched this out and told a better story. Could
have easily gotten at least eight episodes out of this if they didn't want it. If they even Boardwalk Empire, they had eight episodes the last season. They didn't cut it to 6.
Right. Well, didn't The Sopranos I think had 9? I think The Sopranos had 9 too, or something like that.
So obviously, by having it cut to 6 episodes, I think a lot of people speculated that this could possibly have been rushed because the way she, quote unquote, turned into the Mad Queen, that should have taken a couple episodes for that to transpire. It shouldn't have happened all in one episode, in my opinion.
It seems very genuine. I mean, I know some people had said that they were seeing like pieces of it in the last episode. I didn't catch it the first time I watched it, but I don't think it seems very genuine. It seems like she just all of a sudden flipped the switch. It would have been better to see a longer build up to that.
Exactly. That was another criticism. But let me just say this too, because a lot of people are comparing her to her father, saying she flipped just like her father did. But let's look at this in context now. Like, she's seen 2 of her dragons get killed, okay? And then her closest confidant and closest friend, basically, was just recently beheaded in the previous episode. And, all the throne was taken from her. She was exiled. All the things that happened to her. Do you think this was just the last straw? She just said, "The hell with this." And I hate to say this, but could you relate to what she did? I don't want to say it was justified, but could you kind of understand why she flipped? Yeah, she snapped.
I thought
she snapped because, and I think that the whole thing of, her friend getting her beheaded the last episode, that was the last straw, in my opinion.
Yeah,
you could see it in her face that she said, "Someone's going to pay for this."
Yeah,
I think she was definitely angry, but I also think, she rearranged her whole plans because of Jon. And then when Jon didn't do what she wanted him to, she felt like she can't trust him anymore, and she doesn't feel like she is with him anymore.
Yeah.
So I think she feels really unstable.
Yeah, that was part of it too. That she had nowhere to go. She had no loyalty. She had no one else to confide in. Like, so she was kind of like just lost at that point.
Yeah, and so now that I tell you what did you guys think about the scene when Varys gets burned right there? All right, she came in with that dragon was right behind. When that dragon came into view,
that was cool.
That was pretty cool. That was just like, wow. I mean, it was like one of those things like, dude, this guy's done, And Tyrion told him, hey, I was the one that turned you in, and everything like that. And I think they seemed square about it, wasn't it? I mean, it didn't seem like there was a lot of animosity there. He seemed like he knew, and he kind of, I don't know if he understood it or not, but, I guess there's not much you can do with a big dragon right there. You got so.
I guess he understood that because Tyrion was the hand. That was his job to turn him in.
Yeah.
I think he just got outplayed, and he knew he got outplayed. He was out of options.
When did Tyrion go? It was before this, wasn't it? That Tyrion went to Dany and said, "Hey, he told her about." I thought he told him about the, or maybe it was afterwards, where he met with Dany and Dany told him, "Hey, you fail me again, it'll be the last time you fail me."
And then he ran right out and let his brother free and failed her again.
Oh my goodness, what was that about? And how did they grab Lannister? They said they grabbed Lannister going the other way. And so Tyrion goes and sets his brother free with some like cockeyed plan. I mean, so tell me about this plan he had, Lise.
I don't know why he thought it would work. He thought somehow that he could get Jaime to convince Cersei to give up. And I don't know. Jaime even told him that the baby was the reason she would never give up. And it's strange because Tyrion has always been like the brains in the family. He's always been the one who could think 3 moves ahead. And for him to so misunderstand his sister or misjudge her or I don't know, to think that she would do that, nobody else believed that she would do that.
Right.
And for him to be so wrong was kind of shocking, I think.
Yeah. And that was another criticism, too, so far of this season, is how all the other previous seasons, these characters had a specific identity. And now all of a sudden, like, for instance, Tyrion was always smart. Now all of a sudden this season he got dumb. Jaime was kind of becoming a good person. Now all of a sudden he turns back into the old Jaime and goes back to Cersei. Daenerys was always good, and all of a sudden, boom, she just turns bad in the turn of a dime. In other words, the way they change these characters so quickly, going back to this being rushed, they were a certain way for 7 seasons, and now all of a sudden they changed in this last season. That's the thing.
The one I heard one of the biggest criticisms I heard was I think 2 episodes ago with Brienne, the one lady who hooked up with Jaime.
Yeah,
was the last episode. She hooked up with Jaime, and they said that she was this tough girl all throughout the show, and then she ends up in a puddle of tears when he left. And I'm like, she said it was just kind of like betrayed her character or whatever. And I'm like, no, I think you got to think about it. I mean, like, I think she really loved him. I think she really liked him. I think she was actually in love with him.
Yeah.
As crazy as it sounds. I think after that one night or whatever it was, that she actually fell in love with him. I think she fell in love. I think she really started to really fall in love with him when he knighted her at that one. Remember?
Oh, I think it was long.
You think it was long before that?
Yeah, it was long before that. Yeah.
Brienne is a person who never fit in. She was never
Yeah.
what she was supposed to be, and so she put on this rough exterior to try to keep
right.
To be who she wanted to be, but that doesn't mean she's not a thinking and feeling person.
Right.
I actually did
she has
that. I thought that move made sense to me. I thought it was.
I thought it made sense. Yeah.
That made sense. That made perfect sense.
I thought it made sense too. A lot of people hated that though.
Tyrion thinking that Cersei would not be anything other than what she was didn't make any sense to me at all.
Yeah.
The 2 of them have. I mean, she said some horrible things about him. She blames him for their mother's death, even though it was just him being born.
Yeah.
I mean, she said the creature that killed our mother to Jaime about Tyrion. And I mean, she's been awful to him.
Yeah.
And he knows how ruthless she is. The fact that he would somehow believe she could be capable of anything other than that, it doesn't make sense. Now, if it was Jaime he was banking on, that would make more sense to me because he and Jaime always had a special connection. He always saw more to Jaime than everybody else did.
And here's another criticism too. Like, why was this battle so one-sided? You had the Golden Army; they got taken out like by one fell swoop of dragonfire. There was no actual fighting here. This was just a massacre. At least, like with the Army of the Dead, it was a competitive fight. This was like a first-round knockout. This was like a slaughter. Shouldn't it have been more competitive? Shouldn't it have been like a little bit of back and forth? Shouldn't there have been some sort of resistance from the Golden Company? And like, why was this so one-sided?
Well, definitely, but I don't understand either how they went from, the time before when they shot those, I can't remember what the people were called, the scorpions at the dragons, and it was so devastating. And then all of a sudden, 3 days later, she can figure out exactly how to destroy all of them, and they never even get more than one shot off at them.
Well, it's the way she came in.
Made a lot of sense to me.
Well, I think it's the way she came in. She came in on the sun. You noticed the guy when was it Euron?
Yeah.
He looks up at the sky. He looks up at the sun or whatever, and he's looking. He can barely see. And next thing you know, she's coming in from the sun. They can't see her.
So
you know what I mean? So it was like a Pearl Harbor type of attack, man. So he comes in. she wipes out half the fleet. Or what is it? She wipes out like about a third of the fleet right there. They turn around, then they come from the sides. So then these guys got to move that big scorpion all the way around. By the time that was done, they got hit again.
Yeah, that's what someone said. That was because a lot of people were criticizing how all of a sudden, Drogon became like Mr. Elusive, and then all the people on the ships, because there was only 10 ships when Viserion was shot.
Yeah,
and when they were flying. She couldn't see those ships, maybe because there was only 10 of them. She couldn't really.
They were in the bay next to her, like they were adjacent. So she was flying in that mountain, but she couldn't see over there, and that's why he got hit.
Eric, coming up with some good points, and
which is funny because he barely watches it.
And because a lot of people were criticizing how the Scorpions were so ineffective, and all of a sudden, Drogon was able to not get hit once, and now all the people on the ships became such lousy shots or whatever. But someone else said the same thing you said. The dragon came like from a different angle. Yeah. He went straight up and he went straight down, and those scorpions can only kind of go like at an angle. The scorpions can't shoot like straight up in the air. They have to shoot from an angle. So I guess that is a good argument because and also too she saw how the other dragon got killed, so now she was kind of aware of it. Now it wasn't a surprise attack, number one, and number two, because she learned that they had limited range and they had limited trajectory on how they could shoot those arrows or whatever. So she made sure she came at an angle where they couldn't elevate high enough where they could shoot straight up at her. So that's a good point.
And you know what else too? If you think about it, you saw how many arrows were coming at him last episode. I mean, there was a ton coming at him. This time, they didn't hardly get any shots off because they were surprised. I mean, they hardly got anything off. I mean, this completely surprised them. And I think what my favorite part was when they were lining up at that castle. All right, when they were lining up at that castle, I'm looking at that thing like, these guys are just going to get wrecked. This is just a bad move. And they're just at a big standoff, man. Next thing you know, man, that castle just gets bombarded. You just hear this rustle, this ruckus in the background. All of a sudden that wall comes down, and then those guys start charging in. That dragon's coming in. He's taking out every scorpion they got, and that was game. I mean, once those scorpions are taken out, it's game over. You really have. I mean, what can they possibly do? Everybody's talking about how that battle was so one-sided, but think about it, man. Once those scorpions are taken out, she took them out in the bay. She took them out in the bay, right? Once she takes out the scorpions on top, that's game over. That dragon could have wiped out that army on his own. There is literally nothing you can do against that thing.
But shouldn't there have been some type of battle between the soldiers that were on the ground though with the Golden Company? The Golden Company they didn't do anything.
Think about like when the U.S. was in Iraq. You remember that? And they brought all those planes in, and they just bombed them for days. I mean, days.
Wow.
They bombed everybody, and then all of a sudden, then they started the ground war because everybody was scared of that ground war in the desert or whatever. But there was nothing left. You know what I mean? And so they just marched right in there, took everything out. People were surrendering left and right because they knew they had no shot now. You
must have talked to the writers, Eric. You're making really good points, man. Making really good points. And all the spoilers were wrong. The crazy ones.
The crazy ones. All right. So the biggest spoiler that we read, there was a couple big ones. One was that the dragon. What was the dragon's name that was supposed to lay the eggs?
Drogon.
Drogon went to some island to lay eggs, and that when the guy Euron was looking up, he saw nothing but he saw like a bunch of dragons, and that's why he looked scared in the way he looked.
Yeah,
that was a tough one for me to buy because it would have just been kind of weird to see like 50 dragons coming at him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, the timeline didn't fit for me either. Like when they were talking about when he plus he's a he, so that makes it weird.
Well, male seahorses,
I mean, when they were talking about him laying the eggs, like I don't think it would have been long enough for those dragons to be full grown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Then there was another rumor that he was going to have armor on.
That was the other one. That would have been cool if he would have had the armor on, right? But number one, how are they going to get armor on that thing? That thing is so wild. Daenerys can barely control that thing. You know, you saw Jon Snow on it last episode. He was all over the place.
Well, yeah, but he doesn't have the same relationship with them. She controls them quite well.
Yeah.
Him now at this point. But.
Yeah. But, you know, I mean, yeah, that would have been a tough one to pull off. And where are they going to get the armor? And you know how big those things are? How long it would take to make armor for it, you know?
Listen, look, read what Jason just wrote in the chat. Is this a joke? Thought this was a boxing show. Did you read?
Did you read the description?
Did you read the title? That's like going to McDonald's and saying, "I thought this was fine dining."
Moron.
Are you a goof or what? Don't answer that. You are.
Hey, Jason, just hit the super chat. We'll call it even. All right.
Yeah, give us a super chat for that.
Who allowed women in here?
Oh, come on. Come on.
Kind of like Jason's whole life where there's no women allowed, isn't it?
Figure.
That's right. At least it takes top billing here. So, speaking of women here, let me segue into this next part. Let me segue delicately because I have Mrs. Lorton in the room here. So, Jon Snow. I think there might be something wrong with it. I don't know. I'm just saying. Listen. So Daenerys goes in there. He's in there alone in the bedroom with her. All right. He's in there. The fire's going. Everything's happening. So he says, you know, you're my queen. And she was like, you know, and she says, is that all I am to you? And then she kisses him. Now they've already, you know, he's already hit a home run with this chick once. You know, probably on more than one occasion. I don't know. I'm just saying all of a sudden now he's going to try to keep his distance.
He found out she is his aunt.
But what I'm saying is I know she's his aunt. But what I'm saying is that he's already crossed that line.
Oh, my God.
Like you. That's all I got.
Eric, I mean.
I'm just saying.
I don't know what to say right now. I'm speechless.
You've seen Targaryen, right?
I don't.
Well, I know you've seen Targaryen. No, I don't mean it like that.
No, Eric,
I didn't mean it like that.
You really stop talking.
Eric, I have very attractive cousins, right? Not once did I ever envision
really
myself.
Dude. That's like really crossing the line, dude.
Well, I'm just I mean, if I crossed the line, then you ran 1,000 miles ahead of it. Then.
I feel like you can't really say someone crossed the line when you're insinuating there's something wrong with someone's manhood because he doesn't want to sleep with his aunt.
But he's already slept with her, though. That's the point. He's already crossed that line.
Eric, he didn't know. What are you missing here?
He didn't know it was his aunt. Now he knows. So it's
I'm just
not
saying.
A thing anymore.
I'm just saying. You know, I don't know. You know.
So here's the spoilers for the final episode.
Yes.
So, Jon is supposed to kill Daenerys. That's spoiler number 1. Spoiler number 2: Bran is supposed to be the king. I guess they actually vote on who the next king is going to be, and the reason why Jon's not the king is because he killed Daenerys, and I guess he goes back to the wall or goes back to the north or whatever. From what I heard. And what else? So Bran's the king, Jon kills Daenerys, and then Jon goes back to the wall. And those are the only ones I know so far.
I don't buy that.
I can't see Bran being the king at all. This is a kid who just sat there with his eyes closed the whole time when those White Walkers are around. I got to be honest, man, I still don't get that whole episode where he's in there and he's in the woods and they try to draw him out. All right. They try to draw him out. So they put Bran out there to try to draw the Night King over to him. What's their plan? What was their plan once he got there?
They had to get the Night King out in the open. The only way they can kill all of the White Walkers
and I
is
get
for
that.
the Night King to be out. The only thing the Night King wanted was Bran.
Right. I get that. But what was his plan when he got him?
Who?
What was their plan to draw? They draw the Night King out, and they drew him out, but they had nothing after that.
Well, they had
because, I guess that. Yeah, but that was the rally point. The ultimate. No, but listen. Ultimately, ultimately they all wanted to go back to that point once they drew him out and they wanted to kill him. But they couldn't because they were being subdued by the army of the dead.
Bran knew what was going to happen. Bran knew the outcome of that already. So he set that up because he knew what was going to happen. He knew that it was Theon's only chance to redeem himself. He knew Theon was going to die. I don't know if he knew that Arya was going to be the one to kill the Night King, but he knew how that was going to go down.
What, all of a sudden he's Doctor Strange now? You can see the future?
Not all of a sudden.
Doctor Strange! Doctor Strange!
You know what I'm saying?
For some time.
Centurion Son is predicting that Jon Snow will die.
I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't know about that.
I don't think Jon's going to kill Dany. I think Arya's going to kill Dany.
Arya's got to kill Dany, right? That makes the most sense.
Yeah, that does.
In the grand scheme of the story where she says you're going to shut these eyes.
Yeah.
Green is the last one. Green is her eyes and Cersei's eyes. Cersei's already dead. So it just makes sense. Yeah, what did you think of the way that... all right, so let's talk about this here. So they go in there and they just blow past everybody. They just march right over those guys. But then the Lannister army, they throw their weapons down. They say, listen, we're done. You got us. And then all of a sudden that dragon comes in and just starts murking people. I mean, women, children, whatever. That dragon comes in and just starts laying everybody to waste. And then what was it, Grey Worm? Grey Worm goes ahead and throws that spear or whatever, chucks that spear through that guy. And that was it, man. Then it was on. Then everybody started killing everybody, you know? And they ran right through them. What did you think at that point when, I guess, when that dragon started killing everybody and she wasn't stopping? It didn't matter that the bell was going off. It didn't matter anything. I think everybody had talked about her being the Mad Queen, you know, like her. But I didn't really see it up until this episode. And that's what I think. I mean, everybody was talking about it, but I really didn't see it up until this episode that she was like losing it. And I think she just snapped last episode when that lady got her head chopped off or whatever. That was her friend. She didn't. That was it.
Her name is Missandei.
Missandei?
Yeah.
Miss Sunday sounds better. We'll call her Miss Sunday.
Oh my God.
But the point is, I mean, like, I think that's when she lost it.
I'm not so sure she totally lost it. I think she's always been quite ruthless.
You're not sure that she killed a bunch of people yesterday.
You know what the turning point was?
After the battle with the Night King, she realized how much of an outsider she was, and she came to the conclusion that the people were never going to accept her. I'm not sure that was a smart conclusion because she was only in the North where they're extremely skeptical of strangers and outsiders. But I think she came to the idea that they would never accept her, so she decided she needed them to fear her. And what better way to get everyone to be afraid of you than to kill everyone in King's Landing? I mean, it makes the rest of the realm be like, you know what, you're right, you're good.
You know why Jon is a perfect choice? Because every position of leadership Jon had, he was voted in. It wasn't he didn't inherit anything. Yeah. He was voted to be the the head of the Night of the Watch. He was voted to be the King of the North, and the people would have embraced him as the king. She should have saw that. If she was smart, she should have just let him be the king. She should have said, you know what, you should be the king. Because she was always going to have problems because they were never going to accept her. And she was never able to bring people together. Even when she freed the slaves, what did she go ahead and do? She killed their masters. And so she couldn't bring the commoners and the aristocrats or the higher ups together. So every time she was in a position to bring people together, she could never do it. But Jon always did. So it just was a perfect choice for Jon to be the king.
I don't think she ever would have been able to do that, though. She was born after her father was killed. I mean, like, they tried to kill her when she was a baby. They had to go from place to place when she was young, and her brother was awful to her. He was terribly abusive, and he sold her to get an army. I mean, like, she was a thing for so long. When she finally was able to become her own person and decide that maybe she had a destiny besides what people had told her she was worth, I don't think she ever could have then gone back and sat down and played second fiddle to a guy.
Yeah, that's a good point too. And here's another thing, Eric. You mentioned that you didn't see her turning, or you didn't see this change coming.
Right.
But when you go back and you think, do you remember how she reacted when Jon told her that he's the true heir? See how defensive she got, and how how unwilling she was, her unwillingness to give up that power that she attained. You could see that a little bit of the her turning into that power hungry type person right then and there.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, I think honestly though, she's the only story she ever knew. I mean, ever since she could understand stories, was that the people longed for her family to be back in charge, and that the Baratheons were usurpers, and really that isn't how it was at all. But I mean, she was told that they were made for bigger things, and once she decided she was part of that legacy, I don't think she could turn back. And I think she never fit in, really. I mean, they bounced from place to place when they were young, and then when she married Khal Drogo, I mean, she was definitely an outsider there.
Quote unquote married,
Right. But I mean, like she's never. So then when she gets back, back in the Seven Kingdoms and finds out that they're not sitting here throwing parades and excited for her to return, it's got to feel like one more time that like no one's appreciating what she is.
So at the end of the day, I think we can come to the summation that she was never going to be loved, so she had to rule. She had no choice but to rule with fear, because she was never.
That's true. I think that's her interpretation, and so that's what she chose to do. And I think she could not bear being outsmarted by Cersei, and she really thought Cersei was going to use her weakness or her mercy as a weakness, and she couldn't handle that.
Well, here's another thing too. Everyone that's sitting there saying that what she did was horrible and this and that. If Cersei was in the same position that she was in, wouldn't Cersei do the same thing?
No, she would have done something much worse. I can't conceive of what she would have done, but it would have been much worse.
Well, didn't Cersei bring those people in to basically so they didn't attack them?
She was absolutely.
She was using them as human shields. So
sure.
So you could argue.
Banking on Dany not being able to do it.
Right. I mean, so Cersei was just as responsible, really, as Dany was, honestly, because she brought him in there, So everything's going south for Cersei. I thought the shot that really got me is you see her at the little window or whatever. She's looking out, and the mountain right behind her, man, that big giant knight. Oh, how dare you? He's the mountain. What's the matter with you? Conor McGregor beat him up in a fight.
He was already dead.
It was like a sparring session. Did you see that? Beeb, did you see that? Conor McGregor sparring the mountain?
It wasn't real.
Mountain. Conor McGregor stripped him, son.
Well, the mountain's dead. He was dead before that.
No, I'm talking about in real life.
Oh, yeah, he's probably not dead in real life.
No, he's alive in real life. He didn't die in the fire, right? I mean,
No, I didn't know that.
That's just the actor, man. This is just all make believe.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here for the wisdom. What would we do without you?
That's what I'm saying.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, you're welcome, buddy. So the mountain is right behind her, man, and then she's looking on at her city just burning, man, and you're seeing that dragon just get closer and closer, man. And you could see her going from this smirk when it first started, and then you just see it in her face, man.
She's had that smirk since she blew up the.
Just broken up,
yeah.
She's just broken up, and then so finally they decide to get out of there. And before they even cut to that scene, what was it? Who's that guy? The dude, the Hound. Yeah. All right. So the Hound is there with Arya. And this is what I didn't get. So Arya is this bloodthirsty assassin. All right. I mean, she kills with no remorse almost, and she's very good at it. And she's going to kill Cersei. That's it. That's the plan. I'm going to go slice her and dice her. That's it. She's dead.
Yeah.
And the Hound says, nah, you need to go back. You don't want to end up like me, and gives us this little pep talk and send off. Arya looks at him and says, you're right.
Okay.
I got to go. Yeah, okay. I got to go.
Okay.
And she makes her way out. And I'm thinking she's going to circle around and she's going to go she's going to end up killing Cersei, and she's going to end up killing the mountain or whatever. No, didn't work out like that. She just left. She just left. I didn't get that. That's the part I didn't get.
And how many blocks of cement had to fall on her, and she survived each and every time? How does that happen?
Like cement is going to take down Arya Stark.
Yeah, right. Well, what did you think about that? Because you had an interesting theory on that.
Well, I think in some ways the Hound has almost been like a father to her. I mean, he took charge of her when she was lost and in great danger, and I mean, he never liked her much, but I actually think she understands him and he understands her. He's always kind of accepted her for who she is. And I think she seemed like what an absolutely miserable SOB he is. And he's been consumed with revenge his whole life. And so, I mean, again, it's very rushed because we have probably 2 more episodes that we could have in this season. But I think it kind of made a little bit of sense that she would like all of a sudden be like, you know what? Yeah, this ain't worth it.
I think that's the thing. I would have liked to seen things develop a little bit more, like a little bit more character development when it comes to that kind of stuff.
And that's
unfortunate because that's one of the strong points of this show is that the characters have been so well developed over these seasons.
Right.
Yeah.
To throw it away this season is unfortunate.
Yeah, and that's what's been everyone's criticism. How every aspect of this season has been rushed. Every aspect.
And it didn't need to be. I think that's
didn't need to
really
be.
Didn't need to be.
But
like,
these characters, all of them are in constant states of change. I mean, look at Arya when you first met her. Like, she's not anywhere close to that same person. Sansa's nowhere close to the same person she was. So her changing isn't unbelievable. Her changing the way she did.
Yeah, and maybe she's getting older too. She's kind of realizing that she's maturing a little bit. She's thinking about the future.
Yeah.
She's seeing all these people around her die, and she doesn't want to be one of them.
And she is back with her family.
Yeah.
I mean, because she was single-mindedly focused on getting that list crossed off, and then she heard that Jon was back at Winterfell, and she did a 180 and went back to there. So I mean, her family is definitely a key motivating force for her.
So the Hound goes up there. He meets the Mountain. I guess Cersei, and who's the guy with Cersei, her little minion?
I don't know how to say his name. Something with a Q.
I don't know. But that little minion that's always with Cersei, he comes.
He's a creepy little fuck.
He is pretty creepy. He's real creepy. The Mountain's there, and Cersei says, "Let's go. Let's head out of here." And then, what did the guy say that the Mountain just grabbed him, crushed his head, and threw him down the steps like he was a piece of trash? That was insane, man. I don't know what did he say. What did he end up saying?
Obey your queen.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was. Obey your queen. That Mountain grabbed him, threw him up against the wall, busted his head, threw him down the steps like he was a piece of paper, man. Nothing. And
I was sad to see him go.
yeah, I didn't like him either. He was a douche.
His name Qyburn or something. Qyburn.
Yeah. And they go down the steps. Cersei then just hightails it out of there because she knows she can't stop the Mountain. So these two start fighting. And what got me is that, you knew the Mountain was going to get his licks in or whatever, and the Hound and everything. But he stabbed him in the face, in the chest, and the Mountain doesn't die. He just pulls the sword out and he keeps going on.
Dead.
Then he's one of the White Walkers then.
Not exactly. He was brought back by some other voodoo stuff. I mean, he already died. So, yeah, you're not going to be able to kill him that way.
So then you're not going to be able to kill Jon Snow either because he already died? Didn't that chick arrow him?
What?
Didn't that chick arrow him or whatever?
That's not how he died.
Yeah, he got killed by a bunch of dudes, wasn't it? They all took turns on him?
They knifed him.
Yeah, they all took turns knifing him.
Right. He was brought back a different way.
What does that even mean? How do you have... Okay, but I don't understand. Like, how can the Mountain come back?
Jon was brought back in his original form. The Mountain was brought back in a different state. He's a zombie.
Not a White Walker.
It's like
a zombie.
It's like Frankenstein.
I mean, didn't you see him? He didn't look like a White Walker. He looked like a zombie.
Yeah, he looked
like
up, man.
He looked like
something
was going to start falling off of him.
He looked too much like Darth Vader in Star Wars.
Yeah, he sure did.
Star Wars Episode 4 when they took the helmet off him.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, right.
I was getting ready. I was waiting for him to pull a lightsaber or something.
Well, and that's funny because Arya had that like these are not the droids you're looking for moment too. Like when she's trying to get into the city and they're like no, and she's like I'm Arya Stark. I'm here to kill the queen. They're like oh okay.
Yeah, all right, let her through. Let her through, boys.
Jedi mind tricks.
Throw your weapons down. Let her through. You know.
Yeah.
So they go crashing through that wall. Qyburn equals Rod Salka. So they go crashing through that wall down to the fiery pit because the dragon's been laying the fire down everywhere. So I think we can safely assume that they both died because that was like a 100-foot fall or something crazy into fire. So you know, there's this.
Well. Does fire kill him?
I would assume.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't the guy whose name I can't say, that
Qyburn.
Isn't he the one who brought him back? So since he's
Yes.
dead, isn't it maybe there's I don't know, maybe there's some kind of link between the two of them? I don't know.
I don't know.
Remember when the mountain got stripped by that one Spanish dude with that spear? He had that big staff or whatever.
Yeah.
Didn't he end up coming back and squishing his head?
Yeah, but he lost that fight, man.
I mean, he tried to do that to the Hound.
That was for Tyrion or whatever. That was for Tyrion.
Yeah.
If he would have won and he would have freed Tyrion, he got killed.
Yeah. That was so gross when he just squished his head like it was a cantaloupe.
Oh man.
That was the nastiest thing ever.
Yeah. I think the worst part, I tell you what, the worst part though of this whole thing was when Arya, she took a special liking to those two, the mother and daughter or whatever. She was really trying to save them.
Well, they saved her first.
Yeah. And she was really, really trying to help them. And then at the end or whatever, that dragon got him and she just looked and they're both like, they're charred, but they're hugging each other, you know? I mean, like they were just huddling it together, like, you know, you just like, wow.
Very sad.
Yeah. So in the midst of all this, Lannister gets shut out of the castle, right? He gets shut out of the castle, so he tries to find another go around or whatever.
He's using the way that Tyrion told him.
Right. And then he runs into Greyjoy, isn't it? Euron.
Greyjoy,
Greyjoy, yeah.
Who is just a really good guy. Just a really, really good guy.
Now, I thought he might have been dead with the dragon, but he apparently he escaped it or whatever, swam to shore just at the same time Lannister was trying to get in.
Timing is impeccable in this show.
Right, you got to say it, man. And he came out, and yeah, I knew that was going to be bad news for Lannister, man. I was like, this is going to be a tough one. And they fought, and Greyjoy speared him right, I guess, with a sword or whatever, right through.
Right in the kidney.
Was it the kidney? Yeah. I mean, it was like, yeah, it was a tough shot, man.
But he was pretty spry after that. I feel like he healed pretty quick.
And then Lannister got up. I think he got the sword, and then he ended up actually killing Euron after that. So that was pretty much the end of Euron. Euron was actually pretty pleased with himself because he said, "I'm the one that killed Jaime Lannister," even though Lannister walked away. So he walks away. He ends up running into Cersei as the castle is just crumbling down. He ends up running into Cersei. The two of them go through. The walls fall down, and they both get hit with concrete. I'm assuming they're both dead. Beeb, is that what you got out of that? They're both dead now?
Well, some people are saying that maybe Cersei may be alive. I would have to think they're both dead.
They would have to be. Lannister especially. Jaime especially. Because he was like mortally wounded. I mean, he got stuck with that thing.
Well, what are you?
You know, he doesn't have any alcohol to wipe on it or anything like that, or any gauze pads, nothing. So that guy is finished, son.
Now,
I feel like in Game of Thrones, if they don't burn your body, you ain't dead.
Yeah.
Now,
some people are saying she may be alive.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Rude Boy in the chat just says that Cersei has to be alive.
I just feel like it would be such an anticlimactic ending for her. I mean, just come on.
But it was like I was saying earlier.
This is what happened. I'll tell you what happened. Jaime was on top of her, right?
Yeah, I like where this is going.
And protect Eric, please.
They got kids together,
which is creepy as fuck.
So that's why I said, since they got kids together, why isn't it okay with
Jaime
Jon and this other chick, man?
Eric, please. This isn't Love Connection. All right, so So maybe he shields her from the debris because he's on top of her.
I mean,
Nah.
can the whole
He's
castle
dead.
fall on him though?
Yeah, like a whole. I mean, that was a lot of bricks.
He's dead, but maybe she's alive because she's protected from him, protected underneath him.
What about? No? Yeah, would it be crazy if Cersei ended up sitting back on the Iron Throne after all this is done?
Because it's so unsatisfying to not see like Cersei and the Dragon Queen like go face to face. Daenerys, it's so unsatisfying. Like,
but I think they did though. I think you saw it last night. That was my thing. I think you saw it last night, and I think Dany was looking at it. She knew. I mean, listen, man, you can't. What happened last night, man? That was a one-sided loss. I mean, you just got smashed. And I mean, listen, man. I mean, that was enough. I think for anybody. I mean, to sit there and watch your entire city burn on your watch.
She didn't care one bit about that. I mean,
she did because she lost the throne over it.
There was some pride that her troops didn't, hold up, but she didn't care about any of those people. Not one single one of them.
Let me ask you guys a question, because we've probably spent 7.5 seasons disliking this woman strongly. Did anyone feel bad for her last night?
I did.
I did not.
I did. I like Cersei. I like Cersei a lot.
She's a wretched person.
How dare you?
She is a wretched person.
But let me ask. But Lisa, she had a baby inside her. Did you feel bad?
The baby. I don't feel bad for her.
You were just a cold fish.
She did terrible things. Like the lady from Dorne, whose name I don't remember. I mean, she chained her in a cell with her daughter, killed her daughter, and then instructed the guards to force feed her so she could watch her daughter's body decompose over the years. She is an awful person.
Yeah, well, what about the time they took her and marched her naked through the streets while they shamed her? That was terrible.
Shaming her for sleeping with her twin brother, which she did.
So that justifies them, taking her out and,
I mean,
and how could they even prove that? Bran's the only one that knows about it.
Everybody knows about it, Eric. The kids look just like him.
I think they should have kept Joffrey around. That's just my.
He was the
personal-
only person worse than Cersei.
Joffrey? Oh, Joffrey was awesome.
I know you like him, which is
Joffrey.
one more reason I sleep with one eye open, quite frankly.
How could you like Joffrey?
Joffrey was the best. You kidding me?
Seriously, he's a psychopath.
From this day, you'll be my new
and
fool.
I don't mean Joffrey, I mean you.
Joffrey was the best, man. So it ends with Arya, I guess, mounting this white horse and just getting out of Dodge.
That was so conveniently there.
Yeah, right? Just happened to be a horse there.
The only living creature left in King's Landing.
Right, exactly.
Might as well just Uber on the side of that horse, right?
I know, right? And that's kind of where it ended. And so scenes for the next episode, they were pretty sparse there. They only looked like about 3 scenes for that next episode, man, for that finale. I knew they weren't going to give us much. So they showed Daenerys. I think they showed her. It looks like she's taken the throne. She's become, she's taken the throne or whatever. And they show all her army right out in front, and everybody's cheering for her and kind of behind her and everything like that. So, and that was pretty much it. There wasn't a lot. There really wasn't a lot, man. But I tell you, so we got to think. Let's talk about predictions for the finale here. I think that, I'm sticking with the original prediction. I think that Arya Stark kills Dany. A lot of people are saying Jon Snow is going to kill Dany. Jon Snow's not killing Dany, son. That ain't happening.
I think he is.
No, he doesn't feel that way.
There's a wide number of reasons he wouldn't. I think he's too honorable of a person. He swore an oath to her. I don't think he's able to break that. And I think he loves her. Like, he did not respond to her when she kissed him because he didn't feel the same way. He was trying to be an honorable person.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
We shouldn't watch this show together anymore.
Eric, I don't know, man.
They're seeing the real you. For better or for worse.
Right? See, that's what you said. Yeah, so I think that Arya kills Dany. I think that
but I think
I'm
it
gonna
might
go
be
with
something like Arya, like Dany is going after Jon, and she does it to protect Jon. I don't think she's just going to go outright and kill Dany.
right, but I think Centurion's son had the one here where he says he thinks Tyrion and Sansa are going to rule. I think that Sansa's going to rule. I think she's going to be the one that sits on the throne. I don't think it's going to be, because I don't think that Jon Snow wants it. Dany's not going to be around. Tyrion's not going to get it. I think it's going to be Sansa.
Does Jon Snow survive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he survives.
Yeah, Lisa, do you think Jon Snow will survive?
I don't know. He's the one that we've never lost. I mean, we lost him for like 10 minutes before they brought it back or whatever. Well, I mean, it was a long time, but I don't know. And characters don't stick around like that. I wouldn't be surprised if he dies.
This was one show.
Sad, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, this was one show. Like when you watched it in the beginning, like everybody that you knew was like the star of the show died right away. I mean, it was like they were killed off.
God, Ned Stark was the main character of season 1
Main dude. Yeah, main guy. Done.
Yeah.
So
I liked him.
Main characters always go, but there's been like that core group of characters that have stayed.
Not really, though. I mean, there has been a small, but like there was a big core group, and now there's real small. I mean, they've killed off more big characters than any show I've ever seen. I mean, I think there's maybe 6 or 7 people who've been in it from the beginning.
Well,
all right. So let's make the predictions. Jon Snow lives or dies? Yes or no?
Lives.
I think he dies.
I think Jon Snow lives.
I don't want him to, but I think he's going to.
Well, I wonder if Dany kills him, and then what's her face kills Dany. Arya kills Dany. I can see that.
I don't want to predict that he dies. I have a feeling he's going to die, but I don't want to say it because I like him too much. I'm going to say he lives.
No, he lives. I think Jon Snow lives.
Who sits on the throne?
Sansa.
I'm going to say Bran.
Definitely not Bran, I don't think.
Bran sucks.
Bran is
Bran's such a nobody
really Bran
character.
anymore.
He's such a no. I mean, it's like I don't know. He's like autistic or something. You can't. He's like Rain Man.
He's the most knowledgeable. He's the most knowledgeable character in the series.
Yeah, but
he knows everything. He knows
it.
it.
Has a higher purpose. I don't think he'd do it.
Nah.
Okay.
I don't
So
know.
you think? So Jon lives. I think Bran's going to be the king. And who kills Daenerys?
Well, first of all, do you think Daenerys lives or dies?
She dies.
Yeah, she dies.
She dies. I think we're all in agreement. She gets murked. So I think Arya kills Daenerys. That's what I think.
I think so too.
I think Jon does it.
Wow, Beeb off on a ledge, baby. If well, you're predicting Jon's going to live too.
Yeah, Jon's going to live. He's going to go back. He's going to go back and serve on the wall. Because now they're saying that the the army of the dead could come back. Now they're saying that's another theory.
That's what I read too. Like that at the end of the series or whatever, they're going to go back to the wall, and then they're going to see that little mark with the fire or whatever. That means the dead are back or whatever.
I don't think so. The children of the forest created them to try to protect the forest from men. I don't think they would create them again, because that really didn't go the way the children of the forest had hoped it would.
Yeah. But the theory is that some of them are still alive, though. I don't know.
I mean, I guess it's possible that they made more than one, that the Night King wasn't their only first creation.
Yeah. So.
I don't know who I think sits on the throne.
I'm gonna say Bran.
All right. Beef says Bran. I say Sansa.
I just don't. Well, Sansa probably would be a good choice, to be honest. But Sansa wasn't raised to believe she could want that.
You know why Sansa's a good choice? Because she knows how to play politics.
Yep.
She can put honor aside. She has like a good balance of honor, but she also knows how to play politics. Jon, he rules too much with his heart, not his brain.
That's right.
I think it could end up being Tyrion.
No.
Oh, Tyrion, does he live or die?
Tyrion dies.
I think he lives. I think he'd be so miserable if Dany died and Jon died, and knowing that Jaime and Cersei are gone. I think it's worse for him to be alive.
Tyrion dies. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Tyrion dies, and Dany is the culprit. Dany burns him.
I think Tyrion dies.
Yeah, he has to die after this because he went over there and right after Dany, dressed him down. You know what I mean? He goes out there and frees his brother like some airhead.
But the thing is this
plan. It was a bonehead plan.
But his brother's dead anyways, though. So you think she'll still get mad that he freed him?
Yeah. She's gonna kill everybody. She's gonna kill him. She's gonna kill Tyrion.
She's gonna kill Tyrion.
Is the one who kills her.
Tyrion.
Because Jaime killed her father. So
Tyrion hasn't killed anybody in this whole thing. He ain't got an enemy.
He probably gave somebody some venereal disease.
He's not gonna give Dany any venereal disease.
Yeah, that's true.
Tyrion killed his father.
Give Dany some venereal disease, but
Jon doesn't have venereal disease. Dany was his first.
I don't know that. No, he wasn't. That one chick was. Remember?
You're right.
Yeah, that one chick that offed him.
You agree. She didn't offer. She's actually his wife in real life.
She tried to kill him.
Yeah, she did. I can relate as your wife in real life.
That's his wife in real life?
It is.
That redheaded woman?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
They met on the show and fell in love.
Oh, Centurion's son says Davos rules. Wow.
That would be a good one. He'd be a good king.
Who's Davos?
I know you didn't know who that was.
Yeah, who's Davos?
The one who Tyrion said he needed a favor from and got the key to Jaime's chains.
Is that the white-haired dude?
Yeah, I think he has white hair.
I don't know.
Why did Davos allow Jaime to go free? I'm surprised.
I don't know. That's another thing that felt pretty rushed. Like he just said, "I need a favor." He's like, "All right."
Why would he just give him the key like that? Like, I don't understand.
There was more of a conversation that we didn't see, but why didn't we see it?
Yeah.
What about? I got one for you. What about Brienne?
No.
Lives or dies?
Oh.
She lives.
She'll live.
Oh, is she okay?
Yeah, she stayed with Sansa.
All right.
Because she promised Catelyn she would protect her, so she stays with Sansa.
I'm starting to think now maybe Sansa will rule now because you know why? Because Jon will say, you know what, you were right all along. I might as well. You should be the queen. You were the one that saw this coming all along. I don't know.
What about Sam Tarly? That'd be a fun one.
Sam. Come on, son. That's reaching a bit. Sam.
Oh, I think that'd be fun though.
It's your boy Sam.
Have good parties.
I think I want to change it to. I'm going to change it to Sansa. I think Sansa's going to be the ruler.
BB
I can't see. All right, I'll stick with. All right, I'll stick with Bran.
You're going to forget in 2 seconds.
I'll stick with Bran.
You got to stick with Bran. It's locked in, man. We locked you in on an answer. We locked you in on a yes or no. That's it. It's
locked in.
Man. You screwed up. All right.
Once you put your vote in the ballot box, you can't go back and take it out.
It's like Survivor. There ain't no changing a vote. You know what I mean? You wrote it down. You wrote it down.
I think that no one's going to rule. They're just going to have a democracy. Which that'd be so terrible.
They're gonna have a Senate.
What if
Trump's going to come in.
Wouldn't that be crazy? Yeah, I was just about to say that. Like, wouldn't that be nuts if... did you ever see the movie Magnolia, Beeb?
God, don't watch it. It's so stupid.
It's for 2 hours and 45 minutes. It's the greatest movie you'll ever see.
It's not the greatest movie you'll ever see.
It is. It's. I mean, it develops. It's just really, really good. And the last 10 minutes, you're like, "What in the world am I watching?"
What happened?
And that's what it's going to be like here. It's like.
Okay, for the record, the whole movie was like, "What in the world am I watching?"
No, it wasn't. The movie was good. The movie was good up until the last 10 minutes.
It rained frogs.
Thank you for spoiling it for everybody, all our listeners. Now, there you go.
That's funny.
So who sits on the throne, Lise?
I don't know. Probably Sansa, just because I think she's probably the best one that's still alive.
So you're just going to take my answer and run with it, basically.
Well, if I think Jon Snow is going to die, then who else is left?
What about Daenerys? You don't think she just runs the table?
She's gonna die.
You think she's going to die? Who kills her?
For sure she's going to die.
All right, you think Arya kills her?
Arya?
Yeah,
yes.
you think she... why you got to correct me like I'm 4 or something like that,
She's a badass.
I think Jon lives. I think Jon kills Daenerys, and I have to stick with Bran as the ruler.
Wow. I think that Arya kills Daenerys. I think that Sansa sits on the throne.
I hate to agree with you. I mean, I really hate to agree with you, but I think that's what's going to happen.
Well,
too.
I
think
mean, you
Arya
know.
kills Daenerys, and I think Sansa sits on the front throne just because she's the only viable person left.
The guy who rolls Bran around in the wheelchair will rule.
I mean, I
That's
guess it'd be
funny.
one way for Bran to rule without being the ruler.
What happened? And I think Tyrion gets murked.
Yeah, I think Tyrion gets murked too.
Oh, no, he's my favorite. They're all my favorite left, so that's terrible. Yeah, probably. I don't know. I think.
And you got a House Targaryen shirt on.
Well,
and
she
you're
went
saying
a little nuts last night, so
that's not. But you understood it. You were the one that said you understood it.
What's Braun's role going to be? Remember Braun, the sellsword. What's going to happen to him?
Oh, that's a good question.
Who?
The one that Jaime and Tyrion
Oh
prophesied
yeah. I bet he comes back to collect.
Will he get his castle?
Maybe he kills Tyrion.
Oh, he'll definitely kill Tyrion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he has any remorse. I like him too.
No, he doesn't at all.
He's one of my favorites too. I really like that guy.
You are so fucked up.
Why?
Because you like all the people who are awful.
Well, he's not awful. He's a good
He
guy.
is not a good guy.
None of them are good guys.
But he's exceptionally not a good guy.
Give me a good guy.
Jon.
He slept with his aunt. He's a horrible person.
Remember, you said it was okay.
No, I said it was okay to sleep with her again because he's already slept with her.
Which is saying it's okay.
No,
That's out of
it's
control.
completely different. You're out of,
You are so
out of
out.
control.
You are so out of control. D-Style says he liked the episode. I didn't hate it.
I liked it. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was so much better. I thought this episode was so much better than the White Walker. The White Walker.
I just my main criticism was that the battle was too one-sided and it just seemed too rushed. So I have two, and also the way Jaime and Cersei, that scene was kind of if she is, I know, but if she is dead, you would have liked to see a more dramatic ending than that.
Nah, man, they died together. They loved each other.
I'll tell you the most moving scene was when Tyrion was talking to Jaime. That was a very touching scene.
Yeah. Well, Tyrion really does love Jaime.
Yeah.
Jaime was the only person who was ever kind to him.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I think the scene this episode that really stood out for me was watching Cersei watch her city. You know, when she's up there with the mountain and she's just looking on and she knows she's beaten but she just refuses to accept it. You know, she's like, well, we got the fleet in the bay. We've got the Scorpions. We've still got an army. We've still got, and she just refuses to accept it. And when she's defeated, you could see it in her face. You know what I mean? To me, that was like, whoa.
Is she dead or will she come back?
No, she's dead, man.
She's dead?
Yeah, that's the other thing. Okay, do you think Cersei and Jaime dead or alive?
I mean, logic would say they're dead, but
Right.
I have a feeling Cersei may still be alive.
Until you see their bodies on fire in this show, they're not necessarily dead.
I think they have to be dead. I think they have to be dead because, number one, all those bricks fell on top of him. I mean, Jaime is mortally wounded anyway. He's gonna die.
He's gone, but
Cersei is dead too. I think she's heartbroken. I think she doesn't have any. Honestly, she doesn't have any really reason to go on anyway. But she was smashed underneath those bricks. I mean, that taking all the emotion out of it. Taking all the emotion out of it.
For all the things that she's done, she has been a very devoted mother. Her children are her whole existence.
That may be, but at the same time, listen.
I want her to be alive though.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was good that they, like I said, her and Jaime died together. She loved him. They loved each other. And they always have, and they died together. That was good enough for me. I didn't need a dramatic, seriously. I mean, the worst part is that, this was, if you think about it, this was so much worse for Cersei for her to have to sit there and be humiliated like that, because that was a humiliating beatdown. You know, I mean, they took out every. It's like playing a game of chess and you taking out every piece except the king. You know, and you don't have anything left standing. It's just humiliating. You know, and that's what happened to her. And there's no worse way to die. And then when it's all said and done,
not even close to what she deserved. Not even close.
And at the end of the day, you die under a pile of your own rubble in your own castle because it came down on you, dude. It doesn't get any more dramatic than that. It doesn't.
I wanted to see someone kill her though.
How dare you? You guys are bloodthirsty. Wow.
She's a wretched person.
Oh, come on.
Wretched.
D-Style says they're dead. The Lannisters have been wiped out. I agree. The battle was like Sergio Martinez versus Cotto.
Yeah, it was too one-sided. I don't know.
Are they some box? What's the matter with you? How dare you?
Is it MMA? I don't know.
I actually liked it. I actually liked the battle because it was so one-sided. Because after what they pulled last week.
You like one-sided fights because you bet the chalk.
I do. That's how I do it.
You are the most chicken better in the world. Like,
I always win.
Because you only bet when you have no doubt. That's
yeah.
chicken.
He bets like the 12-1 favorites.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
It's like if an NFL team is playing a Pop Warner team, that's the only way he'll bet.
That's a good description.
That's how it goes, baby. All right, guys. All right, so we've made our predictions.
I would have liked to have seen D-Style said how is it supposed to be two-sided if you think about it. She had a dragon. I understand that. But
100%.
I would have liked to have at least seen like the Golden Company and the people of the North have like and Unsullied at least have some exchanges. There was no exchanges.
No, they got hammered, son. And I mean, look, that Golden Army. Look, man. Without Lannister, that army isn't the same. He was leading them.
They got taken out in one full swoop.
Weren't they also though? A lot of them were hired hands, weren't they? If I remember right.
The Golden Company. Yeah, they are. They're. I guess they are sellswords. Yeah.
So I just feel like how loyal are they really going to fight? I think that made sense when they all threw their swords down. Like, why die for this shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they knew they were beat. That dragon's over there. Listen, man. Again, that's like having a bomber come in there and just lighten you up, man. There's nothing they could do. No, there was no way to defend. That was the other thing that I think kind of gets lost, is that there was zero way to defend. Once those scorpions are taken out, you're done. You're 100% done. And that was it. The Bay, once they took out the Bay, that was it. That fight was over. Because that was really their only shot they had. Because all those guys had scorpions, and then they had, what they have, about 10 set up on the castle? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe. Yeah, they couldn't even get shots off. They were coming in from the side. Those things they couldn't even move them to the side. They were getting killed.
Got murked.
Yep. It was one-sided, boy. One-sided beatdown. All right, guys. That's going to do it for this edition of Game of Thrones, our review show. Now, we will be back next week, and we will do another review of the season finale. I'd like to also talk about, too, next week, like our favorite moments through the entire series.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Like our favorite moments through the entire series, how we thought the series could have been better or whatever. But I think that would be cool because there's a lot of things that, once the series is done, you look back on and you say, yeah, that was one of my favorite parts of the thing that you remembered most about one of my favorite scenes, and this and that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for sure, man. All right, guys. So for Lisa, Mrs. Lorta over here, my main man, the celebrity, Joe Habib, I'm Eric Norta, and we will see you next week.
Okay.